Hello everyone, this is Gorax and today I'm gonna show you Temporal Vortex 2 team that is doing over 770 million damage. This team took me a while to do. I replaced Oggok from the difficulty 1 with Reytah in difficulty 2. I also tried different timings, and now that I have better understanding of how this team works, I'll walk you through this so you can copy it. There will be no code, but I'll give you all the information you need to build a successful Beldel team in Season 3 of the Dragonheir Silent Gods. Remember, you can support your favorite content creators in the Content Creator Bond Plus, which is available in the bonus events here. If you press the link, it will direct you to the website where you can put my code Gorax1 and link, so when the event finishes in December, you get some freebies as well as support my channel. You can also do it on the website and you'll find the link to it in the video description as well as the pinned comment. Remember, code Gorax1 with capital G. So if you have not done it, consider doing so. Your support is very appreciated. Thank you. Quickly here what's happening. As you can see, I delayed my damage dealers. Now they hit after the boss first rotation, and we use Reytah to extend the debuffs. And this helps us keep the defense penalty for the whole 15-second duration, giving us the highest damage possible. And there is also a small twist, something that you might not have expected, as I tried the other way around and it only reduced my damage. Alright, so first thing we need to talk is how we dispel the mist. We want to dispel the mist to enter the Raffle phase, which will increase our direct damage done, well, the boss will take direct damage increased by 100% for the first 15 seconds. That's important. We want to start doing as much damage as possible from here up to 15 seconds after the first rotation. So you might think you need to jump into Raffle phase straight away. This will be quite tricky to achieve that. You'll need to adjust your timings, and when I've done it, my damage dropped. If you managed to do it and your damage didn't drop, let me know how you've done it, but try my method as well. So, we are dispelling the mist when we deal damage. I tried Gain and Shield to dispel to mitigate that delayed rotation. It didn't work well. We will also dispel the mist when we gain a buff rather than when we inflict a debuff. So before we go over the equipment, let me show you what I mean. As you can see, we're so close to the red phase that we will enter it. Weirdly enough, entering that phase reduces my damage. I'll explain to you why. We'll keep going. It was very lucky to go into that phase. Didn't happen previously and I was doing still good damage. But usually I skip the first phase. I go into the blue phase twice before going into the red phase, and it does a lot of damage. Let's see, first time ever during recording, I managed to hit the red phase before blue phase. So let's see where it takes us. Due to how we generate mist, we will always stay in the red phase, obviously with the rotation red, blue, because that's what happens when the boss changes the formation. As you can see, he will go to red phase now, and after this phase he's gonna jump to blue phase, even though we are in the red phase. As you can see here, back to blue. That's normal, get used to it, and let's see the damage. And even now I can see, despite me getting into the red phase on the first rotation, my Beldel is doing almost 100,000 DPS less than when we get into the red phase on the third rotation. So play two times, see what gives you more damage, but this does work. As you could see, I did a lot of damage. But there's another thing I want you to focus on. Look at when I apply the debuffs. I apply Witch's Remains and Vulnerability around the same time, then Reytah extends them by additional seconds, and look how long these debuffs last. Pretty much up until the next rotation. So the defense penalty is constantly on. Sadly, this team has no mythics whatsoever, so Baldel's DPS can only go up significantly if I get my hands on the Carnage gloves. So here we are, weirdly, obviously there's some randomness, with hitting the perfect phase, which would be starting with blue, hitting red. I've done 30 million damage less than starting with blue, hitting blue, and then moving on to red. But as we know, there is some randomness when it comes to Baldel's damage. Alright, now that you know the difference between what I meant, let me show you the equipment. So there's no mythic equipment on my team. I was really unlucky. However, for Baldel Inspiration 5, unlocking her talents got me through 300 million to 600 million straight away. I've been farming crit rate gloves. I would really love the Dark Knight Guardian crit rate gloves so I could use the chest that I'm transferring here, but no luck so far, and I used a lot of stamina. Sheena will use Witch's Remain. We need to have enough accuracy to apply it, obviously, and she's built with Puppeteer set as well as crit rate, crit damage. As you can see here, I had really good luck with these gloves. They're pretty powerful, so quite lucky. Also, I didn't mention, I was quite lucky to get a pretty solid rune. Obviously, I would love double crit rate instead of double haste, but it's good at the start. Zorak will be another damage dealer. We use Blooms of Prina here to boost his damage, and we will use this new set, Snow Mountain, because whenever he gets buffs, depending on the number of them, we can get 3% of attack to all allies up to 5 stacks, and as we know, this is a really good buff. Plus, also we have Felocia granting us 2 buffs at around the same time where we cast his ultimate, so it all adds up and makes sense. And once we are at Felocia, Felocia is using this gem set. For it to work well, you need to ensure, even though you're building Zorak with attack, your Baldel has to have the highest attack, so this set will grant her extra attack based on enlightenment. So we have quite a bit of enlightenment here, so we're also gaining a good benefits from this set. I tried using even the shield mythic that I have with HP, but it didn't boost the damage good enough compared to extra enlightenment benefits from that, which is, you know, something weird. I didn't expect that. And then also golden antlers to boost damage and healing of the allies. We can survive the whole battle no problem, thanks to Reytah as well. So extending the debuffs through Reytah's ultimate is quite important to match that 15-second rotation, and to ensure she is at 18-second rotation, we bring in Rift Hourglass. That's important to always hit that so we don't miss, because she also extends the pet's debuff vulnerability, which you could see. And my pet is built with attack. That's the most important stat. And also this one is amazing because it works really well with Reytah extending that debuff, which is the Witch's Remains. Now, if you don't have Reytah, there's another team that I've been using previously, and that will be with Oggok. First, I'll show you the timings that I've done here. So I've tried different timings on my supports. They're quite important, but Felocia at 17.9 or even 17.5 doesn't really change much, but just make sure you watch how you generate that mist, or rather dispel, because that's important. We want to be in red phase, so we want to dispel. So play around with these timings to and see for yourself if it's better for you to start blue-red or blue-blue-red phase. For me, blue-blue-red gives me more damage, which, I don't know, makes less sense because of how these phases work, but well, seems like either I have better RNG or not. So another important thing is the rotation of our damage dealers. First things first, pet. Pet takes 2 seconds because it charges briefly for 2 seconds and then unleashes this damage, which will apply vulnerability debuff. So we want to start this a little bit earlier than Sheena. As you can see, 2 seconds, which means 18.9, and then Sheena at 19 because she does quite a bit of damage. Zorak will start our rotation because he will grant 30% damage up to all Ice Blast. teams. You could also try. This will, however, require you changing it slightly, moving it at like 18.9 as well as, you know, to basically try and increase your damage, see what works well for you. But so far, this has given me the best results. I mean, everyone is using different timings, and it's mostly up to RNG on Beldel, and Beldel starts at 27 with her ultimate, basically to gain this extra stack of ice crystals to keep going with the battle skills. Now, as I said, there is another team, and I've been using that on the difficulty 1, and it did pretty well, so it's still working. It's safer, you can survive easier, and it will use Oggok instead. And this team on average does around 20 million damage less if you don't have Reytah. Good replacement. The timings will be slightly different, and you'll need to ensure you have 18-second rotation on Oggok, which can be achievable by using Gatekeeper Staff to get this immortality to keep Beldel alive. Beldel has to stay alive basically through this. The first battle skill is mitigated by Velocia Shield. Velocia Shield will mitigate the damage from ultimate and usually covers that one as well. Then you put Immortality around here, which will help you survive that and top up your team by full HP around here from Oggok's healing. As you can see, the timings are very similar. Something different though I tried here, moving the pet slightly later because we don't have Reytah, so we're not extending, but ideally you once again, this is a 7-second duration. Is it 7? 8-second duration, so you want to make sure it hits around for the duration of the defense penalty, so maybe even moving it a little bit earlier will work well. And for those of you who are curious and saying, Gorax, but that's Inspiration 5 team, what about us? What about those who don't have that? Let's play that, obviously with Reytah. As I said, with Oggok you will have easier time surviving. With Reytah you might fall, but let's have a look what kind of damage this team is able to do. Also, let's see what rotation we're starting with. So we're starting with blue, which gives me the most DPS so far. So let's have a look. So we can see the damage of Beldel, the DPS halved, the DPS of Zorak almost halved, similar to Sheena. However, our rotation is still looking good. We do lose the defense penalty and vulnerability a little bit earlier, but it's still hitting this 15-second mark, which is very important to us. So as you can see, 400 million damage done. Pretty solid. I'm really happy with this damage. At Inspiration 0, that's very easy to build. All you need is a single copy of all of these heroes, except for Beldel. You need an extra copy for her exclusive artifact. If you are wondering how much damage you would do without her exclusive artifact, I would say you would do half of that. So yeah, we die because we lost the inspirations. Reytah is not able to keep us alive as much. Same with Velocia. We lost quite a lot of extra stats, but we're doing 440 million. If you add Oggok to this team, you would survive slightly longer, but your DPS might be lower. And that's everything in this video, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below how much damage you're doing with your teams, and maybe you're using teams that are not Beldel, something outside of meta. Maybe some of you got lucky and get Guinevere. Let me know. I want to know what you're using in Season 3 of Dragonheir Silent Gods. And once again, thank you all for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!